Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena and welcome to another video. So I won't lie to you, but when I was thinking about this idea, I thought that I had more books to talk about. But I kind of realized that I'm a mess at reading new releases. Because most of the books that I have read this year are books that were released on 2019. So that says something probably. But you know what? Now that we are in the middle of the year, let's talk about some of the new releases that I have read so far this year. So let's start with Come Tumbling Down by Shannon McGuire. This is book 5 on the Wayward Children series? Saga? I think it's series. This was the 5th edition, and again, we're following Jack and Jill from the first and second books in the series, and I like it, and it was great to be back in the moors. But at the same time, I just love the second one so much. It's definitely my favorite of the bunch, and I'm just like, I just like the second one. It was good. It was definitely good. It wasn't like a bad book or anything like that. But it was missing something. And I don't really mind in most of the other ones that they are really short. But in this one, it felt really rushed, which is weird because they are all like super short. But I don't know, I was definitely missing something in this one. Although, again, it was so cool to be back in the moors, and I love Jack. I can't help it. I do think that I enjoy the stories that are set on the present more than the backstories, because we have one present, one backstory, one present, one backstory, one present. And I don't know, I'm leaning more towards the present stories, even though the third one wasn't really my jam. I don't know. In general, I think it's a great addition to the series. I don't know. I just love the the Wayward Children series. They are so fun, and they have so many good messages, and they're so tiny. But yeah, overall, love it. I gave Come Tumbling Down 4 out of 5 stars. Then let's talk about What Lies Between Us by John Mars. This was perfect. I read this because I got an art through NetGalley, and this was so good. It's a kind of more domestic thriller mystery type of novel, but it's so well written. I had like a previous experience with, I don't know where the book is, with John Mars, The Passengers. It's somewhere over there. I'm just moving all my books. That's basically why I'm recording this video right now. I'm getting the books on the top and the bottom and all the books that I have already read in this last couple of months to my new home. So yeah, that's basically why. But I read The Passengers and enjoyed it, but didn't love it. I love this one. It was such a good thriller, and the characters felt so complex. The plot on itself was amazing. It has like overly the top twist, but they are all like justified, and the way that the story is told, it's just great. I gave this one like 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think it wasn't perfect, but it was super close to be amazing. If you have the chance to get to this book, do it, because it's such a good story and it has so complex themes on it. Loved it. Then let's get in one of my disappointments of the year. Yeah, we could consider this one a disappointment. This is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, and I've heard amazing things about this author. Amazing things. But this book just wasn't it. It starts like such a cool, crazy book. It has this amazing premise. Basically, this guy published a list with the perfect murders in these films and books. Or were there only books? I don't recall exactly. But then someone shows up and starts imitating that list and killing these people in those manners. And the concept is fucking great. But the story just loses itself through the middle, and it just turns into this really bad book by the end. I didn't really understand it. It was just like, oh yeah, let's just have, this mystery and this kind of tension, and then by the middle of the book you're just like, what? And the ending was a complete meh. A complete meh. I give this one 3 stars. It's just, it was okay. It started off so strong. So strong. Let's talk about The Wolf of Orangero by K.S. Villoso, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 or 5 stars, and this is a fantasy novel, and I will say that it's Asian inspired, but I haven't heard anyone say the same, so I don't know, maybe I'm just completely insane, but it felt really Asian inspired to me. So in this one we follow Taylene, and she is basically called the Bitch Queen. Yes, she was abandoned by her husband just the night before of their coronation, and she was left to rule on her own. But now, I think it's 5 years later, she receives this letter from him, trying to meet and talk things out, and she goes there, and things happen. Basically, it's very vague, I know, but it's better that way. I really enjoy this one, but I need to warn you about something. I thought that this was a book kind of more about royalty, political intrigue, mystery in the palace type of thing, but it's not. It completely isn't that. In fact, when she gets to this new place, she gets separated from her guards. This is like in the first 50 pages of the book, and she's completely on her own. So, yeah, no royalty things here. I'll say that the only thing that I didn't really love about this one was the pacing. I don't know, there were some weird moments where everything seems just like a laid out and just, oh yeah, we're going to stay here for a while. And then poof, we just jump into a completely different thing, which was a bit weird, but overall, the story was great. And I love Taylene as a main character because, I don't know, she was really flawed, but she was a super interesting character. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I'm just really, really excited to read the second one, actually. But yeah, I highly recommend this one if you're into it. It's just like a very grounded fantasy. I wouldn't say that it's really fast or really slow. It's just like a good blend on the middle. Then I have here Hearts of Pearson Broken by Bridget Kammer. This is another sequel. It's actually the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely that came out next year. What? Last year, and I read this whole series this year and I was just so surprised by it. I read the first one a couple of weeks before this one came out, and I have to say that they are so fun. I'm not like a huge fan of romance, you already know this, but this one, it's amazing. I will say that, yeah, it definitely leans heavily on the romance, but at the same time, the kind of main plot and the politics in this world are fairly interesting. I don't know, and also the secondary characters in this one are great. We don't follow the same characters in the previous one, which is really sad, and I think that it was the main reason why I didn't love this book, because the overall plot was fairly good. Even though I hate one trope that is in here, miscommunication. It felt so wrong. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, it's more of a fantasy drama than anything, but it's just super fun and entertaining. And if you've never heard of this is basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling. The cool thing is that actually the beauty this time comes from our world and is transported to this one. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hell out of this book. I gave it 4 stars also, and that's it. It's just so fun. You know what? Let's talk about Prosperous Demon a moment here. This is a short novella by KJ Parker. He's the same author of 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City, which I own and I'm super excited about. But this one wasn't really for me. It had like a bit of hype at the beginning of the year. It came fairly soon. And it's basically a short book about an exorcism, mostly. It's a pretty weird book and it's so short. I definitely wished that it was longer. If this would have been like a full-length novel, it would have been so good. because the demons here are really, I don't know, interesting. Basically, they are impossible to kill and they just switch bodies constantly. So I don't know, it's just interesting. It was really cool. I don't know. It has some really cool elements on it based on the, but it lacked like a plot on itself, which was really weird. And by the end, I was just like, what? What? I give it like 3 stars out of 5. Enjoyable, yeah. Will I rate something else set in this world? Yeah, probably. But overall, it wasn't just like anything that will mark me or anything. Then let's talk about this beauty here. This is the Yamantine by Orangero, and this is another sequel. This was the year of the sequels. I haven't read that many kind of first books in the series this year. I know. This is book 2 in Weapons and Wielders, and I'm a sucker for the series basically. It's just like the representation of fun, light fantasy. It's just incredibly good. I mean, if you're looking for a good time, just grab one of Andrew Rose's books, because even though I love dark fantasy, sometimes I just want to follow someone nice and like a true hero. So yeah, this one was just so good. In this one, we are on a magical tournament, so if that's your thing, I will highly recommend that you try it. Nothing biased here. You know, we have also magical swords, different abilities, different types of magic systems. And yeah, I would say that this is closer to an lit RPG than the Arcane Ascension. I loved it. It was super fun. And it had just like a super cliffhanger ending. I was just like so full. Let me show you to it. So don't read it, okay? But this is the epilogue. And I have like, this is a huge sentence there. And I'm just like, wait, what? And then it turned the page and it's blank. This one played with my emotions so badly. I gave this one 5 stars in Goodreads, but I think it's not like a 5 stars. It's more like 4.75, 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's just based only on my enjoyment. I will probably give it a 5 stars. Then I have here the end to a trilogy. This is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson, and this is book 3 on the Truly Devious trilogy. And I love Truly Devious. It was just such a surprise, the first book. I wasn't in love with the sequel, but still, the first one is my favorite till this day, and it will probably continue to be. I think that is one of those series that you have like these positive feelings towards, and just like, oh yeah, they were so good. Basically, in this one, we have a murder mystery going on. We follow Stevie. She is accepted in this super prestigious academy where a murder happened almost 100 years ago. Something like that. I don't really remember the date. But yeah, she's at the same time investigating that murder because she was obsessed with it. And at the same time, something happened in the present. And yeah, overall, again, super fun, super light-hearted mystery. And I don't know, this was such a joy to read. The first one especially. I'm just so obsessed with the first one. I give this one 4 stars. It was a satisfying ending, but I don't know, I just wasn't really impressed by who the killer was. I don't know, I had like a... It's not that I knew who he was, but it wasn't as impactful as if it was another character, but it did make sense. It makes sense. So yeah, you know, we accept the fine. We accept the end. Overall, super solid series. If you're looking for like a cozy read with a blanket and a cup of tea, this is probably the series for you. Then I do have a standalone here. This is the Vanishing Deep by Astrid Scholte. I did have kind of high expectations for it. I wasn't just like losing my mind over this book, but I really thought this sounded amazing and I bought it new, which is something that I don't usually do with new releases. I'm always like kind of, you know, I'll wait till the more fresh reviews come out to see the kind of real score of the book. The premise in this one is also incredibly good, but it has one problem. It all just happens in a day and it has so many YA tropes in it. I wish they weren't, because they kind of ruined the story for me. In this world, everything is basically underwater. There's only just like a couple of islands standing and some artificial islands. They discovered that they can basically resurrect people that have been drowned, but only for a day. So she decides to resurrect her sister because just right before she died, she told her that she knew something about their dead parents. So yeah, many people died in this one. The concept on itself is great, but then we are just thrown into this kind of trouble book where they are just going this place, then oh no, we need to go this place. Oh no, we go to this place. Oh, and it made me feel just like, dude, it's just on one day. These islands must be really, really close to each other, because if not, I don't understand. It had like insta love. I mean, it wasn't just like a full insta love story, but it did had it on it, and it was just like unnecessary, because it's just one day. If it was like a couple of days, I will just accept it. But in this, it wasn't necessary here at all. So still, if you're interested on it, I will give it a try. The whole plot was fairly interesting, but I don't know, on itself, it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, it was a bit of a disappointment, but nothing too crazy. Overall, it was an okay book. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And let's talk about something good. This is Heart of Flames by Nikki Palpreda. I'm in love with the Crown of Feathers series. Well, it's going to be a trilogy, I think. Even though I liked the first one more, it's for no special reason, actually. I think both of these books are fantastic. Oh my god, the relationship in this book was so pure. As I've told you, I don't like a romance, but there's such a good, beautiful romance in this book that is everything. And it's so emotionally good. It's great. It's fantastic. And the whole sisters relationship in this one, it's fucking great. It has just like the I love you, I hate you moment, and it's just so well done. The whole world building in this book is actually fantastic. I mean, we all have those YA novels that we love, but usually YA novels lack world building because it's usually a more fast-paced read. But this is fast-paced, but the world building is on point. I mean, could be expanded, of course, but I don't feel like I'm missing something. You know what I mean? I don't know. I give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. The first one was 5 stars, but this one is super close to it. I mean, overall it's great. I love the Phoenix companions. They are so pure and so cool, and I also want a Phoenix. I just love it, and my god, the endings of these books are just like, I'm mind blown. But yeah, just like in the first one, the second one is just the same, and I'm really dying to read the third book. And I don't usually buy hardcovers, but I'm just really thinking about changing my paperback from the first book to the hardcover because they are stunning. Then let's talk about this one. This is the Book of Koli by Emma Carey. I was okay with this one. I've talked about this fairly recently. It was a bit of a disappointment. This is a post-apocalyptic book where plants have taken control over the world, basically, and nature just hates humans. That's fairly interesting. You like the premise? Read it. Why not? But lower your expectations. Because there won't be nothing related to that in a while in the book, so yeah. I might reread it when the second book comes out, because I think that it's coming out fairly soon, because the 3 books are already written, I think. So yeah, I'll probably give it another try and try to focus more on it. It didn't keep my attention for so long, and I love this kind of books. Post-apocalyptic is my thing. So yeah, it was definitely hard. I will try another book that has a similar vibe to it that's called Hela, that's coming out right now. I think that has already come out. Overall, a bit of a disappointment here. Well, a bit. This is my most disappointed book of the year so far. But yeah, I had extremely high hopes for this one, so yeah. Then we're getting to the end. The second to last book that I want to talk about is How to Kill a Demon King in 10 Easy Steps by Andrew Rowe. Again, fantastic genre. But this is again another super fun light read. What was this? Super light read. Okay, my god, the cringe. This is actually a literary RPG, so it might not be for you, but it's kind of an homage to Zelda and another JRPG games. I mean, Japanese role-playing game. Overall, it was just so fun. And it's like, step 1, do your inventory. Step 2, upgrade your powers, and that sort of stuff. It was just so fun. I read it in 2 days. It's a super short audiobook. That's why I don't own it, because I want every single Orangero book out there, but there's only available on Audible. Overall, it was fantastic. I love the little puns that we had there, just like, oh no, the hero must be wearing green and he has to play the harmonica and stuff like that. It was just so fun overall. It made me genuinely happy. Like most of Andrew Rose's books, it's just like you read them with a smile, and that's something. But yeah, I ended up giving it 4 stars out of 5 stars. 4 out of 5 stars. It was super entertaining, super light, super fun, but I wish it was longer because I don't know, it felt really short. It's just like not even 6 hours of audiobook, and I listen to my audiobooks at 2.5 speed, so I edited nothing. But yeah, it felt extremely short after that. But yeah, overall, super great. And the last series that I have here is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And this is phenomenal. I have already a full review about this book because I loved it. And the more I think about it, the more I like it. Which is really weird because I didn't give it 5 stars. I think that it's like a 4.75 stars because it wasn't perfect. I wish we had more vampire here. But overall, I was just so attached to every single character here. The plot in itself was great. It was handled so good, and this author's writing is amazing. It's been a while since I actually noticed someone's writing. I mean, just like, wow, this is just great. Yeah, overall amazing. We basically follow Patricia, and she has this super cool book club where they read true crime books. And actually this book is set on the 90s, so she starts to suspect that maybe their new neighbor is actually a vampire. And that's all I'm going to tell you because this book is so cool. Oh, and the colorful, just like with the peaches. And it's everything. This book is everything. I'm just so excited to keep reading Grady Hendrix's books. It's just like, I'm just like super excited for it. But yeah, this was super good. I highly recommend that you check it if you're more into kind of horror mystery books. But yeah, it was overall, it was just so good. I love it. It's definitely one of my favorite books of all time because I haven't read that many standalones, but this one was just so good. So yeah, those were all of the new releases that I have read this year, which is kind of sad now that I think about it. But yeah, I have actually a couple of new releases on my shelf already that I really want to get to, especially this month because there are 4 that I'm literally dying to read. We'll do another one of these by the end of the year just to have, the new releases more condensed here. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!